Imagine the absolute peak of a severe South Korean heat wave. The air is thick, the humidity is literally suffocating.
Oh, there's just boiling, like you can barely breathe.
Exactly. And standing there in the dirt is one of the most photographed, meticulously styled men on the entire planet.
But he's definitely not under studio lights this time.
No, not at all. He is drenched in sweat, wearing like 20 kilograms of heavy all-black counter-terrorism body armor. There's no makeup, there are no ring lights.
This raw, unyielding survival.
Right. I mean, the teasers had dropped for his other projects, and the fandom went completely silent in anticipation.
And then this unauthorized, incredibly gritty leak turned the entire K-pop world upside down.
It really did. So today we're uncovering the leaked reality of Kim Taehyung's military service. Welcome to StarScope K-Report.
Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
So for today's deep dive mission, we are unpacking a headline that absolutely broke the internet for you guys.
Oh, it completely shattered a lot of illusions, honestly.
Yeah, it was everywhere. The headline was literally, V's shocking transformation, the secret military photos leaked.
I remember seeing that and just my jaw dropped.
Same. And we have pulled together a massive stack of sources for you today to figure out what actually happened. We're pulling from reports from Epicor, Soompi, the Indian Express, Times of India, and the Hindustan Times.
Right, because our goal here is to piece together the absolute truth about this incredibly grueling military service.
And a secret health battle that literally no one saw coming.
Yeah, and we really need to talk about what this permanent physical change means for the future of BTS.
Yeah.
Because this story, it goes so far beyond just music or celebrity.
It totally does. It's about punishing physical endurance, a deeply hidden struggle, and
an idol stepping entirely outside the boundaries of manufactured perfection into this hyper-dangerous reality.
Exactly. So let's jump right into the deep end. We need to talk about that black uniform and the double dragons.
Oh man, good double dragon.
Right. Like during his mandatory military hiatus, V didn't just take the standard infantry route. And he certainly didn't opt for, a desk job.
No, he really went for the hardest option possible.
Yeah. Reports from Aju Press and Epicor showed he actually chose to join the Elite Special Duty Team, the SDT.
Under the 2nd Division Military Police Unit.
Right. Notoriously known as the Double Dragons. And for anyone listening who isn't familiar with the intricacies of the South Korean military structure, you have to understand what the SDT actually is.
Yeah, to put it in perspective for you, the SDT is essentially the South Korean military's SWAT team, but combined with a Tier 1 anti-terrorism unit.
Which is wild.
Completely wild. We're talking about high-stakes counter-terrorism operations, VIP protection, violent urban combat, and, active bomb disposal missions.
Oh, wow. Bomb disposal.
Yeah. And the physical requirements just to qualify to train for the SDT are terrifying. You have to pass these crushing tests of absolute strength, stamina, and martial arts combat readiness before you even step foot in their boot camp.
Right, because it's an environment designed systematically to push human beings to their absolute physical and psychological breaking points.
Exactly. Which brings us directly to those photos that went incredibly viral.
Yes, let's paint that cinematic picture for you again. We have that sweltering Korean heat wave. V is completely decked out in that heavy 20-kilogram all-black anti-terrorism gear.
And just for context, 20 kilograms is about 44 pounds of dead weight just pulling on your shoulders and spine.
In a heat wave. He's wearing thick body armor, a tactical helmet, a multi-pocketed vest. The works, you can actually see these raw, red, abrasive splotches on his forehead.
Yeah, from the intense friction of the tactical helmet. But the thing that stopped every single person in their tracks.
His eyes.
Yes. Even with the heavy balaclava mask on, he had this fierce, piercing, dangerous gaze.
And that visual is really where the immense cultural shockwaves originated. Like, if V is your ultimate bias, seeing him in that gear triggers an intense amount of fandom pride.
Oh, totally. But it also induces this crazy kind of cognitive dissonance. It completely shattered that polished, untouchable, idol visuals stereotype that the entire industry relies on.
Right, because he wasn't relying on a styling team. He was literally covered in dirt and exhaustion.
And domestic netizens, especially K-nets, were absolutely floored by the official reports of his precision marksmanship.
While international fans were losing their minds, right? They were comparing him to a gritty, battle-hardened character straight out of a K-drama like Descendants of the Sun.
Oh, that comparison was everywhere. But, what makes these specific photos so incredibly precious is the context of how we even got them.
Right, because normally fans can follow their favorites' basic military milestones on the Camp, which is the official military update app.
But that app actually had to stop updating BTS content completely.
Yeah, due to a massive intellectual property dispute with Big Hit, or HYBE.
Right, so operating without the Camp app was like navigating a ship without radar. The fandom was completely blind in the dark.
So when these unauthorized fan-found photos leaked out, they provided this sudden, blinding flare in the night.
It was this unscripted, highly guarded reality just leaking out into the world.
But here's where I want to push back a little bit and look at the cultural machinery of K-pop. Seeing an idol endure this level of unscripted reality, does it fundamentally change how we view the manufactured perfection of the industry?
What do you mean?
Well, we spend years consuming these flawless concepts, perfect choreography, and airbrushed album jackets, and then suddenly we see one of the biggest stars on the planet looking exhausted and bruised. Does it break the illusion of the idol, or does it make them more legendary?
Oh, I argue it permanently elevates the artist, and it shatters a very unfair stigma.
How so?
Well, it proves that the absolute perfection we see on stage isn't because these artists are like fragile manufactured dolls. It's because they possess an ironclad, almost frightening work ethic.
That is so true.
Right. When you see V carrying 44 pounds of gear, sweating through a heat wave with red marks on his skin, you realize that the flawless stage persona is just a tiny fraction of his underlying discipline. The grit was always there.
It was just hidden under the sequins?
Exactly.
That is a phenomenal point. The stamina required for a 3-hour stadium show suddenly makes total sense when you see what they endure in the dirt.
Completely.
And guys, that's not even the wildest part of this military era. Wait until you hear about the real-life stabbing incident that earned him a bravery award.
Oh my gosh, it genuinely reads like a high-octane thriller script, not real life.
It really does. But before we get into those jaw-dropping details, if you love staying updated on your favorites, make sure you subscribe to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead for you.
Yeah, you don't want to miss what's coming. So let's pull back the curtain on what was actually happening behind that black mask.
We need to talk about the brotherhood, the physical mechanics of his training, and the sheer bravery.
Because those viral black uniform photos were just a tiny, tiny glimpse into his reality.
Let's start with this heartfelt Instagram leak from a fellow soldier. The Indian Express reported on it, right?
Yes, a fellow SDT soldier under the handle win._.mun_223. He shared this carousel of incredibly rare group photos.
Yeah, we saw V in his tactical mask, but we also got to see him catching brunch with his unit, taking solo walks.
And striking those goofy classic Taehyung poses that fans know so well.
But the handwritten note attached to the post is what really got me. The soldier thanked his Taehyung for being a profound inspiration.
He literally wrote that thanks to Taehyung's leadership, he never gave up during the darkest moments of training.
And when you dive into the actual statistics of his service, which Sportskeeda broke down, you immediately understand why his squad mates looked up to him so intensely.
Oh, the stats are insane. Just 18 days into his service, V was already appointed as a platoon leader trainee.
Wow, 18 days.
Yeah. And he quickly achieved the highly coveted special warrior status. To put this in K-pop terms for you, he essentially achieved a military all-kill.
A military all-kill, I love that.
Right. Just like a song topping every single domestic music chart simultaneously, V placed first in grueling Winter City combat training and first in full-arm precision shooting.
He didn't just survive the Double Dragons, he dominated the ranks. But here's where we get into why that is so terrifyingly impressive.
The cracked rib.
Yes, the cracked rib. We found out that V pushed through a painfully cracked rib during his training. Think about the mechanics of that. Every breath hurts. Twisting your torso sends shooting pain up your spine.
And yet he didn't stop. He didn't ask for desk duty or, light training.
He compartmentalized the pain and kept moving, and the commendations he earned reflect that insane drive.
He won the STT Exemplary Award, which is prestigious enough. But he also won the Military Police Excellence Award for bravery during a real-life stabbing incident.
We have to emphasize this for you guys. This was not a training simulation. The SDT was deployed to a real, high-stakes civilian crisis involving a violent stabbing threat.
He stepped into a live, unpredictable urban combat scenario and neutralized the threat with such bravery that the military officially decorated him for it.
Let that sink in. A global pop star stepping between a knife and a civilian.
It's unbelievable.
And on top of that, let's talk about the 20-kilometer march. A 20-kilometer march in standard gear is brutal. But during this specific march, several soldiers in his unit started physically breaking down.
So V, who was already carrying his own 20-kilogram gear, takes the heavy bags from 3 other struggling soldiers.
That is 60 extra kilograms. Combined with his own, he was carrying 80 kilograms, roughly 176 pounds of dead weight.
While recovering from a cracked rib.
Exactly. Plus, we later learned he quietly purchased and donated high-end workout equipment to his unit's gym out of his own pocket.
Okay, but I have to jump in here because all of this raises a massive psychological question for me.
Oh, what is it? Let's really look at this. Carrying 176 pounds of gear for other people. Pushing yourself to place first in every single combat category. We know that in South Korea, the military is a sacred civic duty, and it's heavily scrutinized.
Right.
But did V overcompensate here? Like, was he so terrified of the toxic stereotype that global pop stars get special pampered treatment that he actually pushed himself into a dangerous zone just to prove a point to the media?
Oh, I have to strongly challenge that perspective.
Really? Tell me why.
I wouldn't call it overcompensation at all. I would call it pure survival. You have to look at the history of idle military service. Yes, the scrutiny is immense. Agencies literally beg fans not to visit discharge sites just to avoid any perception of privilege.
That's true.
But in the STT, the stakes are entirely different. If a pop star shows even a hint of weakness in a Tier 1 anti-terrorism unit, it compromises the physical safety of the men next to him.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to prove a point to the media or K-Nets. He had to earn the absolute trust of the soldiers beside him. Carrying those 3 bags wasn't a PR stunt. It was raw, human empathy and accountability to his brothers in arms.
That is a deeply illuminating way to look at it. He was proving himself to the guy on his left and his right, not the camera.
Exactly.
But, you know, it still makes you worry profoundly about the permanent physical toll it took on his body.
Which brings us to the most heartbreaking, sobering part of this entire deep dive.
Yes. Later in the deep dive, we are going to unpack the shocking plot twist regarding a secret physical battle. V was fighting that entire time, one that absolutely nobody in the fandom saw coming.
But first, let's set the stage with his triumphant return.
Right. The timeline of the discharge is crucial context here.
According to Soompi, the highly anticipated day finally arrived on June 10th, 2025. V and the group's leader, RM, were honorably discharged. It was a massive, joyous media event.
Oh, it was everywhere. RM even showed up outside the base playing the saxophone to celebrate.
Classic RM, right? Bringing the jazz to a military base.
It was this incredibly lighthearted viral moment that perfectly cut the tension.
And the very next day, on June 11th, Jimin and the Maknae, Jungkook, were also discharged. This staggered back-to-back return set the absolute perfect stage for the massive 2025-2026 BTS comeback.
The global fandom was electric. It was everything we wanted. But then the plot twist dropped.
Yeah.
Fast forward to a seemingly casual August 2026 Weverse live stream. V is just hanging out with Jungkook. They are eating, chatting with the fans. Everything feels completely normal.
And out of nowhere, he drops a bombshell.
Yeah. Indulge Express did a detailed translation report on this. V confessed that his hearing has been actively and severely deteriorating for the last 2.5 years.
The emotional weight of that casual revelation was just staggering. He delivered the news softly, but the clinical details are devastating.
What exactly did he say?
He confessed that his right ear now only has about 30% hearing capacity remaining. He has lost 70% of the hearing in that ear.
I mean, for a vocalist whose entire livelihood, pitch, tone, and musical nuance rely on spatial audio, losing 70% of your hearing in one ear is catastrophic.
It's like a master painter suddenly losing the ability to see the color red. You have to entirely relearn how to mix your palette, how to perceive depth.
And what makes it so much more painful is the context he finally provided about his time in the military.
Right. He was actively losing his hearing during all those achievements we just talked about, but he was essentially gaslit into thinking it was just a mental health issue.
Okay, let's unpack that, because that phrasing makes my blood absolutely boil. How does a medical, physical issue get brushed off as being in your head?
It requires a true understanding of the psychology of elite military units. It's not necessarily some cartoonish evil conspiracy. It's a deeply flawed psychological mechanism meant to build combat resilience.
Okay, I'm listening.
In hypermasculine Tier 1 environments like the SDT, the entire focus is on pushing through physical pain. If you are in a firefight, you cannot focus on a twisted ankle or a ringing ear. You have to survive.
So the environment systematically conditions soldiers to ignore invisible injury.
Exactly. Because hearing loss doesn't leave a visible bleeding wound, he was told he was just stressed. He was conditioned to believe his failing ears were just a mental block he needed to push through to maintain his special warrior status.
That is absolutely wild. Imagine being in one of the most high-stress, dangerous environments on Earth, losing one of your primary senses, and being told by your superiors to just push through it.
It's terrifying.
But applying that context makes his military achievements completely mind-blowing. The fact that he achieved a military all-kill, won bravery awards for stopping a knife attack, and placed first in combat shooting.
Where balance and spatial awareness are critical.
Exactly. All while losing his hearing. It's an almost frightening level of willpower.
It is the ultimate testament to his compartmentalization. But hey, if your heart is racing right now listening to this, take a deep breath.
Yes, we want to reassure you about his current status. V confirmed on that exact same Weverse live stream that he is actively receiving top-tier medical treatment and is on specialized medication to manage the condition.
And remarkably, he refuses to step back from this stage.
Not at all. Despite this severe, permanent challenge, he is currently performing at absolute full capacity on the massive Era-Rang World Tour.
In fact, he just played back-to-back, completely sold-out shows at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey.
Which defies logic. To be up on a stadium stage dealing with complex in-ear monitors, the deafening roar of 80,000 screaming fans,
The explosive pyrotechnics.
all while navigating a 30% hearing capacity in your right ear, he is relying on bone conduction, vibration, and pure muscle memory.
It shows a level of dedication to the craft and to the fans that is just unparalleled.
So guys, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update on the Era-Rang Tour and everything else in the Hallyu universe. Because the way this artist adapts to this adversity is a historic story you absolutely want to keep following.
It really is a masterclass in resilience.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final lingering thought to mull over long after this finishes. We've talked extensively about his physical endurance, his undeniable bravery, and his dedication.
Right.
But considering V's severe, permanent hearing loss in his right ear, how will this physical change alter the actual way he makes music in the future?
Oh, that is the ultimate creative question.
Because history shows us that when a musician's primary instrument, their hearing, is compromised, they don't stop creating.
They adapt.
Exactly. They often develop a completely new, profound relationship with sound itself. They start to rely heavily on vibration, on resonance, on the heavy physical feeling of the bass in their chest, rather than just the delicate audio input in their ears.
Which is fascinating to think about.
Could this hidden struggle, this devastating loss of 70% of his hearing in that ear, actually lead to the most experimental, textured, and deeply profound solo music of his entire career?
Will his next album force us to hear the world through his permanently changed perspective?
It shifts the entire paradigm of what to expect from his next comeback. The polished, pristine image was already shattered by the gritty reality of the black uniform.
Now, the pursuit of traditional acoustic perfection might give way to something beautifully raw, heavy, and textured.
The leak didn't just show us a soldier in a black uniform. It showed us a man who absolutely refuses to break, even when the world and his own physical senses are shifting around him. You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.